Geek Tank Radio on 98.1 The Max.
Welcome, everyone. We are the Geek Patrol, and our microphones don't have a stun setting. Today, we're joining you from the Justice League's annual hot dog eating contest. I hope Cyborg sits this one out. It looked weird last year after
just wrong.
The aftermath didn't. I don't know. He does not need to be involved.
You
in
do
this.
not need pork byproducts in your gears, circuits, and cogs. I'm just saying.
And
But once it comes blown out the fan, it's just wrong, man. It's just wrong.
Yeah.
That's all I gotta say.
It's got to be expelled somehow.
Yeah. It's. I don't even know why they do this. It's.
Superman's flatulence afterward is more powerful than a locomotive.
Okay, thanks, Max. We knew
All right,
somebody was going
somebody
there.
mute Max's mic.
And welcome back.
He always makes it about bad taste.
And welcome to Geek Tank Radio. I'm Joe Thorderson. Yeah, Max is no class. Here with my buddies Brandon Olmstead and Alan Gilbreth, and our pal Max, the distasteful Max over there behind the glass. And I should have known it was going to go that direction.
Let's just be honest. We can't blame him completely. It's about the parenting.
His parents were, I don't know what their
we've
problem
seen his
was.
gene pool.
Hey,
It
you
was
guys.
scary.
Well,
I
of
like
course,
his family.
Speaking of the Justice League, we had, 2/3 of the members no. I didn't see it, and we're going to deal in a spoiler discussion today.
I'll talk about that later
Everybody
on.
got a mention.
Let's just say, you go see The Flash, you'll laugh, you'll cry, you'll go, why are we making this joke?
Oh, that it's one of those types of thing. They're going to the Guardians of the Galaxy.
No. I mean, the humor here is not like that.
Okay, gotcha.
But I'll explain that later on.
Okay, gotcha. So, all right, so we're going to discuss The Flash and
Massive spoilers.
Okay, yeah, and I don't mind if you spoil it. I'm going to watch this movie at some point, probably after the weekend, but I'm watching it out of scientific curiosity. I really don't care if I get it spoiled, Brandon. And Alan, you never care, right?
Nope.
Max, you don't care, right? So
You can show me 3 commercials.
Look.
I'll write you out the entire script and show you 3 alternative endings.
Right, gotcha. So
I don't worry about it.
all right, but before we get to that, I was amazed you guys were on board with this and even enthusiastic. I've been pretty good, Brandon.
Right.
Even though I've not been talking about the Cubs or baseball or anything on the show.
Which, for anybody who's new to the show now that we're here at 98.1,
Yeah.
I'm just going to tell you, Joe not talking about baseball when baseball is actively going on, that's almost a miracle.
It was easy last year because the
ma-
Cubs stunk. But,
If he manages to pull off 2 more, he gets to be a saint.
well, the Cubs this year are the type of team where they just won 4 in a row. They beat the best team in one of the best teams in baseball. I can't figure them out. They're on the cusp where they could either make the playoffs or they're going to finish in last place. I don't know. So it's making the season interesting.
See, I've never understood that about baseball, but anyway.
That's okay. Baseball, there's a great quote in Moneyball that Brad Pitt made, which is a perfect segue here. He said, "How could you not be romantic about baseball?" And we're talking just, there's so much history, there's so much legend and mythology and everything, and it captures the imagination.
You get hit by one angry person with a baseball bat one time, and you don't ever want to see baseball again.
Okay. Well, we are living through an historic moment, and you guys, I said, can we bring this up on Geek Tank? You said, yeah, let's do this.
Absolutely.
So the Oakland A's are in the middle. Just go on YouTube and type in Oakland A's, and you're going to get literally probably thousands of videos that come up. They're in the middle of something that is really, it's almost historic. We remember that movie Major League when they had that owner that everybody hated. She was trying to tank the team so that they'd get sold. She wanted to move them to Florida.
It was the only time I ever enjoyed baseball was that movie.
The second movie was funny,
She
too.
inherited the team from her husband when he died, and she hated being in Cleveland.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like most people in Hollywood films, I don't know what it is. I've been to Cleveland twice. It didn't bother me.
Yeah.
But
I don't know.
I don't know. Drew Carey liked it.
Right. Everybody always downing on Cleveland. I don't get it.
So now we move up to the Oakland A's. They're owned by a guy named John Fisher, who I'm just saying this guy should be kicked out of baseball. But he inherited his money because his parents started the Gap. This guy inherited billions of dollars. He's never worked a day in his life.
He bought the Oakland A's with Blue Jean money?
Yeah. I mean, so basically, this is not a guy that, we've seen these billionaires that they started with nothing. Steve Jobs is a good example. Some of these they create something and so those people I think have a whole different perspective on buying something, what it takes to create and make something. This guy is all about, did you see the movie Moneyball?
Yeah.
It's really interesting. Well, the way they portray that is that the Oakland A's just have no money. They're sort of this scrappy team. Well, it's not that they didn't have money, and it's not that they didn't have a strong fan base. It's the owner is just a cheapskate. He will not spend money.
Right.
Whatever. And now he is actively trying to tank the team and move him to Las Vegas. And I don't think this should even be allowed.
Well,
if you own a baseball team, you have a responsibility, I think. And they have a very loyal fan base
in
out
a lot
there.
of cases, you have to have a contract with the city.
Right.
But that is based on how many dollars you're bringing in at the stadium, how much your revenue you are making for the city. If you dip under a certain amount, they'll break the contract so that you can leave. But what I love about the fans is they've created what they're calling a reverse boycott.
Right. Because they've been boycott. These games have been this season. They boycotted the team because they basically put a minor league team on the field because it's cheap.
Right.
And
but
I feel sorry.
That
for
was
the
early
players.
on when they found out what was happening and they started the reverse boycott. Whether they go and watch it or not, they're going in and buying tickets.
Right.
And going and sitting in the stands because they don't want them to leave.
Well, the thing is, it's such a simple solution too. There's like 5 billionaires out there who said, we have a standing offer. If you want to sell the team, we will buy the team. We'll build a new stadium. We will, because their stadium is kind of worn out. And we will actively keep the team in Oakland. We'll make the fans happy, and we'll make this a good baseball team again. And he won't sell. One man is ruining a whole fan base.
He wants to keep it just to say he owns a baseball team.
But
the arrogance there
don't
makes
you want
me.
to?
I want to kick his teeth down his throat, but
how does he sleep at night?
On a pile of money.
Easily.
How do you do that? He is easily the most hated person in baseball right now. So how do you do? I don't know, man. I
remember legendary battles in some I don't know, some state called New York for decades. So a hated owner, a twisted financial plot behind the scenes is a time-honored baseball tradition.
Okay, and so we're gonna unpack that a little bit more. Then we're also gonna get to our Brandon's Flash review. You're listening to Geek Tank Radio. We're gonna take a quick break, and we'll be right back.
You're listening to Geek Tank Radio on 98.1 The Max. Baby Yoda hates these guys. The Geek Patrol is back.
That's because you took the knob from the Razor Crest away from him, Alan. I mean, he has one joy in life. I mean, you didn't have to.
I can have that stupid knob, man, but I need the frog legs.
Okay. And welcome back to Geek Tank Radio, everybody. Brandon has nothing to say.
Nope.
I mean, okay. I'm Joe Thornton.
My feud with Grogu is very well known. It's
Okay.
never going to end.
Okay. And justified, I feel.
Very
He didn't have to
justified.
levitate you while, And
Dude, I was drunk.
Yeah, welcome back to Geek Tank Radio, everybody. I'm Joe Thorderson here with my friends Brandon Olmstead and Alan Gilbreth and our buddy Max over there behind the glass. And before the break, we were talking about the Oakland A's It's really historic. I don't know if this has been seen before. The owner, John Fisher, is blatantly tanking the team. He sold all the best players. He's got almost no payroll. He's active. He's doing no repairs to the stadium. He just wants to move the team to Las Vegas. First of all, okay, well, anyway. And Alan, you seem to sympathize. You don't have any problem with this guy. I don't think it should be allowed.
I have no problem with the fact that he's not doing anything that hasn't already been done. Other owners have done equally terrible things to their teams of people without a history in the sport buy a team and suddenly think they're managers. It's a time-honored tradition for rich people to squander millions of dollars on professionally pointless activities.
See, here's his bias. Okay, that's why I don't talk baseball with Alan. So, baseball, whatever. Who cares?
I was a scorekeeper.
I am so
burnt on that sport. I could,
Okay, well, I don't think this should even be allowed. It seems to me legally there should be, because you're talking about they must have millions of fans, and why are you allowed to torment them and to make and then rip a team away from them just because you you want to. I mean,
you're asking that in Memphis, a city that
all
has
right, never
been
mind.
tormented
Brandon, what do you have to
by
say about it? Do you have anything
sports teams
productive?
being removed.
Okay, so all right, what do you have to say about this?
I understand that legally it's his prerogative. It's his money. He can do what he wants with it. That does not stop him from being a sleazebag. I can't justify him.
He should just sell the team. That's
Honestly.
Everybody at the stadium in that reverse board, they had a green shirt on and said sell. That would solve everything. Yeah. Just sell it and they've got offers on the table. Why wouldn't you just sell the team? I don't know.
Because at this point, I mean, you've got the whole I own a team. It's a status symbol. You may own the worst team. You may own the most financially devoid team. You may have the most morally corrupt management governing your team. He's got a team, and he gets to talk about it, and he gets to talk it up. It's like, it's a big conversation starter when you're looking for donors for money that you want to spend that you don't want to spend your own on.
I don't know. Yeah, that seems to be his thing. He's always going after other people's money.
When you go looking for investors and you tell them you own a team, they're like, well, at least I know he knows how to do it with his business. But, I mean, they never look at the fact that financially your team is devoid of any kind of success.
Right. So,
well, the flip side of all this is the 5 years from now mentality. 5 years from now, we'll be in Vegas. We'll have a beautiful stadium, and I'll have this great hit team, and we're going to be absolutely stupendous.
And, see, that's the problem, though, Alan. So here's the thing.
Major League Baseball does not sanction a Vegas team.
Well,
MLB has a big problem with things in the vicinity of betting.
Right. That's sort of that goes back to one of their cardinal sins.
I'm just pointing out, that's the 5 year mentality.
Well, no, I get where you're coming from, but that's the thing. He can have that 5 year mentality. My thing is, like, honestly, especially with as many people in the organization who are against what he's doing, I'd sanction him. I'd censure him.
I think he should
all across the board, and he can go back to being a AA team.
Yeah.
Perhaps going back, kind of playing devil's advocate here. Well, what's the difference between baseball and any other sports? For example, like Oakland, they already sold their football team to Las Vegas and the Raiders, and it's got a nice stadium, and they seem pretty fine with moving there and everything. They're still loyal even if they're in Vegas.
Thank you for that, Max, because you just teed it up. That's exactly now. Las Vegas can support a football team, but if you look at the attendance, what's going on with the Raiders is whoever they're playing at any given moment. If they're playing the New York Giants, you get a bunch of New York tourists coming in, and half the stadium is filled with the opposing team's players. That used to happen when I lived in San Diego because everybody's from somewhere else. Well, Vegas can't. Okay, we're talking 8 games a year in football. Now we're going to 81 home games. That business model does not work for baseball. So I'm even wondering, and you're taking a team that has a very loyal fan base in Oakland. Well, it doesn't mean that people in Las Vegas care about this.
The other big difference, again, as Joe brought up with the fan base, baseball fans are a different breed of character.
Yeah, we are.
Have you ever met a Whovian, Max? Have you ever met a Whovian?
I mean, once, but they're not of the character that you've described.
No. You haven't met a Whovian then.
I haven't met a Whovian then.
No.
Talking about Doctor Who fans.
Yeah, right. Yeah, have you met a brown coat?
Oh.
Firefly Serenity fans.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, all of these people that I'm talking about, and I'm going to go with the Marvel fans too, and Star Wars fans who will cannibalize each other.
Right.
These people are considered calm and serene compared to baseball fans.
In the right context, that's true. Yeah.
Now, I mean, it's still not basketball fans. They're on the West Coast. They're not going to burn down their city if their team wins. But I digress.
Well, here's the other thing, Brandon. Baseball is looking to do 2 more. They're expanding. Believe it or not, people still watch baseball. They want to add 2 teams, 2 expansion teams. They're talking to cities like Nashville and Las Vegas and places like that. Well, if you're Vegas, wouldn't you rather just have your own brand new shiny team?
I would.
Instead of and who'd want to do business with this John Fisher guy?
There's plenty of corrupt people in Vegas who'll want to do business with this guy.
I don't think it's going to
because
work.
It's not going to be about doing business. It's about I'm going to screw this guy out of his money while he thinks he's trying to screw me out of my money.
Right. Well, I think if you have a fan base and you have things, and I do,
You
think,
know I'm right, Alan. I
Yeah.
can see it in your face. Your thought bubble is well seen. Too bad the people at home can't hear it.
Well,
I'm just going to leave it at that.
we'll keep an eye on this. We're not going to make the whole show about baseball, but I appreciate you
God.
guys letting me vent, and there'll be developments. I mean, it's active right now, so if anything interesting happens, we'll report back. But we're going to change gears, you guys. It's time to get back into the world of geekdom. And Brandon, you went and saw the
I went and
Flash.
saw The Flash.
What is it called? It's just called
The
the
Flash.
Okay, it shows my level of interest. We're going to do a very spoiler-heavy discussion when we come back here on Geek Tank Radio.
You're listening to Geek Tank Radio on 98.1 The Max. Warning, Romulan ale has been known to cause diarrhea. The Geek Patrol is back.
Yeah, and we don't want to.
No,
We don't want to
that is-
discuss how we learned that.
I can't bring
The
myself.
hot dog contest.
I honestly can't bring myself to like drink anything that looks like Windex.
Right.
No. Romulan ale causes a litany of things.
Burns going in, and it's not fun going out either. And welcome back.
That's all I got to. Oh my God.
And welcome back to Geek Tank Radio, everybody. I'm Joe Thorderson here with my friends Brandon Olmstead and Alan Gilbreth and our pal Max over there behind the glass, who really caught us off guard with
one
that
of these
rejoinder.
days, we're going to get through an entire episode without any kind of flatulence humor, any kind of toilet humor. It's not going to be anytime soon.
It will
One
not
day
be
we
this
will
day.
have
this show. Not on
No,
this show.
it will not be this day, to quote
Yeah,
Aragon.
you know.
It'll basically just be me and Alan.
Yeah, yes. We now know why the character's called the Flash at this point.
Yeah, no kidding.
Well, it's not the flush.
Yeah.
So we, if you're just tuning in, of course, we were discussing Major League Baseball, the Oakland A's historic, situation. However, Brandon went and saw The Flash, and
Yep.
just fair warning, folks, this is going to be spoiler heavy. I haven't seen it yet. Alan hasn't seen it yet. Max hasn't seen it yet, but we don't mind. We don't mind getting it spoiled
And I
because
don't
I think
care.
we figured out the movie
The
in the
Snyderverse
commercial.
is over. So
The commercial pretty much, I mean, as far as I can tell.
The
tells us
commercials
what we
have
need.
covered it.
No. The commercial makes you think that you've got hours upon hours of Michael Keaton
No.
and Sasha Callie going through it and being awesome and badass.
No, you got 3 minutes.
No,
Hey.
no. You got more than that. But you have so much more.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Okay,
happens.
good. Hey, Brandon, I do have a question, though.
Moral quandaries.
I saw the poster. There's a
Okay.
poster they were giving away to the IMAX the viewers, and it looked like a Batman movie. They had the big bat wing, and then the Flash was running underneath. So
Well, the Batwing is very important to the story.
okay,
The
so,
Batwing is almost a more integral part of the story than, say, Batman is.
okay,
And that's really weird considering the number of Batmen in this movie.
yeah. I was wondering how many.
Okay,
we got,
so yeah, this closes out the Snyderverse. James Gunn has even said that Blue Beetle is unofficially the first character of his new universe, which means that he's going to be back as himself.
okay,
I'm not gonna spoil the movie for you. You shouldn't. It's Flashpoint. If you watch the shows, if you have any interest in this movie, you probably read the comics about this already because this is not a movie that you're going to go see on a whim. This is 2.5 hours of bad CGI, but most of it's stylized for a reason.
oh, they purposely did that.
Because when you're in the Cronenball, which is the basic limbo that the Flash goes through to go back in time, they stylize everything. And
that's cool.
It's almost like you're going through, like what would happen if AI was showing you your life.
Okay, so
Everybody's fingers look weird.
it serves a purpose.
It
That's
does
cool.
serve a purpose
Okay.
because once he gets knocked out of the Cronenball, he's back in the real world. You can tell when he's in one or the other.
Gotcha.
Now, there is too much humor in this movie, in my opinion. Now, I'm not against humor in the superhero movies, but there's too much of it in this. And I think one of the best parts about this movie is that while the humor has its place, there is a moment when Barry is talking to his younger self and just goes off on him for not taking things seriously. And in the midst of that, he starts to realize why everybody else kind of like, treats him like the cleanup crew.
So he's learning. Yeah.
This movie starts off with Ezra Miller's Barry Allen at a coffee shop waiting in line. He's already late for work. He needs to get his sandwich, which the girl who usually works there, Sarah, who he knows as curly-haired girl because he's the most awkward incel in the world. He does not she knows what his order is. She sees him in line. She gets it together so she can hand it to him as soon as he gets there. Well, she's not there today, and there's a guy there who wants to, he's like the whole, you can't rush a good sandwich and everything.
Oh, gosh.
Well, in the midst of all this, Alfred calls him. So we get to see Jeremy Irons as Alfred, which is great.
He's a good Alfred for sure.
And he's like, we've had an explosion at Gotham General. It was a robbery that went wrong. Apparently, Carmine Falcone's kid decided to steal a virus to hold the city hostage. That sounds Batman-y.
Yeah.
And Bruce is going after them. And, of course, it's Ben Affleck's Bruce Wayne.
Oh, that's cool.
So we get Ben Affleck Batman for what will probably be the final time we get to see him. Going after, Kid Falcone and a virus that could kill everybody in Gotham if it gets into the water supply.
That's with that motorcycle.
Right.
That's a cool motorcycle.
But meanwhile, the Flash has to go to and basically play cleanup at the hospital. He's got to save everybody who's getting pulled into the sinkhole. He's got to fix the wiring and everything so nobody gets electrocuted. And then the East Wing collapses and it jettisons about 8 babies out of the NICU up onto the 18th floor.
Jeez.
And the nurse. And of course, Barry hasn't eaten anything yet. So, and the Flash's power is run up by his metabolism.
Sure.
And he's on empty. So the first thing he does is he gets into a vending machine and eats all the food. So he has enough sugar to save these kids. Horrible
While
CGI.
they're in midair.
Right. So got to save the kids, the nurse, and a therapy dog. That from there on, the movie gets worse.
I mean, that sounds pretty. He's perfectly suited for that.
It's a fun movie, and we got 2 Barry Allens, we got a Michael Keaton Batman, we got a Ben Affleck Batman, we have Gal Gadot's Wonder Woman. We get to see, though it's not actual footage of them, we get to see Henry Cavill's Superman and George Reeves' Superman and Christopher Reeves' Superman, and we get to see Adam West Batman and all these characters that are coming together in this thing. The cameos alone are fun. It's a lot of fan service. Michael Keaton's Batman is not Tim Burton's Michael Keaton Batman. It is a Michael Keaton's Batman that has been pulled from a point in the multiverse and ends up in this other world. And it has the greatest explanation of the multiverse and parallel dimensions that makes them. It's the most simplistic, description using a bowl of spaghetti.
Oh, okay. Because I've never really understood multiverses.
Right.
So,
well, Michael Keaton's Bruce Wayne explains it to him really well. And but he also explains about fulcrums and fixed points in time. Like if Batman dies, Batman's going to die right here, no matter how many times you go back and try and change it.
Oh, so okay.
But the whole point is Barry went back in time to save his mom. Mm-hmm. So you end up having to have this very emotional scene towards the end where he has to go back and make sure that he doesn't save his mom.
Yeah,
and that she is destined to die for the world to be what it is. And as someone who just lost their mom recently,
right,
that hurt.
No, that part would be hard.
Right.
So okay,
but yeah, I will get more into it when we get back. But I don't want to spend the whole segment doing it.
Okay, well, so stay tuned here on Geek Tank Radio.
You're listening to Geek Tank Radio on 98.1 The Max. Max, the producer, just pushed the red button. The Geek Patrol is back.
And he ran out of the room.
It just means record.
Bowl of spaghetti me now.
Okay.
Now you have to go see The Flash to understand that one.
Okay.
All right.
And welcome back
now
to
that the meatballs headed down the hallway.
Absolutely. And welcome back to Geek Tank Radio, everybody. That was a weird one. I'm Joe Thorderson here with my friends Brandon Olmstead and Alan Gilbreth and our buddy Max over there behind the glass and now behind the blast shield, I guess. I don't know.
Smart man.
So before the break, we were talking about Brandon's spoiler-heavy discussion of the Flash movie, which is supposed to be basically the Flashpoint paradox, which doesn't seem like it to me. It seems like it's more of another DC version of the multiverse, right?
Well, no, it's Barry goes back, to keep his mom from dying. It screws up the universe, but instead of us getting like Thomas Wayne Batman, we got Keaton Batman, who is still Bruce, and he's been living a very hermit-like life by himself. He's grown his hair out real long. He's got a big shaggy beard. He kicks both Barry's butts in the beginning when they first meet up with him. And then he, when they, do the whole thing. But he has retired from being Batman because Gotham is now one of the safest cities in the world.
Oh, brother. Really? What does that look like? Do you get to see it?
No, you don't.
I'd like to see that.
He fixed it.
That's interesting.
We get to see a lot of Batman in the daylight, though.
I don't like that.
Like the Ben Affleck is chasing, the guy, the Falcone kid. It's in the daytime when they go to Russia to save Supergirl, thinking they're going to save Superman. It's in the daytime. It's amazing how good all of that stuff looks in light. Who'd have thunk? But Michael Keaton is definitely a product of his time. His Batman still uses things like a flip gadget in order to hack a computer. He's
a child of the 80s.
He uses all his old gadgets, and the director of The Flash is going to be directing Batman: The Brave and the Bold. You can see his love for Batman and gadgets and everything else in this. So I am excited to see what he does there.
That's good.
But with today being Father's Day, I want to go ahead and say that one of the big proponents in this is Barry wants to save his mom, which also will get his father out of prison. His father's been in prison because he was wrongly accused.
Oh, that's right.
Of the death.
He's got a tragic
his mom.
backstory. Yeah.
Well, after he goes back and he fixes everything after a ton of stuff, because I don't want to really I want there to still be some stuff that people can go and enjoy.
Okay.
But this is one of those things where it's like, I'm going to give you the ending because it really isn't that it's not that consequential to the film. He does one little thing that causes his father to look up when the surveillance cameras are going by, so you can see where you can see where Henry Allen is at the time of Nora's death.
Okay.
So his dad wins his appeal and he gets out, and it's when Barry comes out of the courthouse, there are reporters who want to he's like, so how are you feeling about this? I mean, what was that key piece of evidence that got your dad? And he starts talking about the bowl of spaghetti, the multiverse thing again, and they're like, huh? And he's just, I'm really hungry, I got to go. He gets a phone call and it's Bruce Wayne.
Right.
And he's like, it's like, hey, the footage worked. Thank you for helping me out. And you hear Bruce say, I'm pulling up. He's like, remind me. I want to thank you next time I see you. And he goes, I'm pulling up now. Gets out of the car, walks up to him. Barry's all excited because he's going to get to hang out with Bruce, and it's George Clooney.
Oh, jeez. Okay, so we got the whole...
He's looking at George Clooney and he goes, "You're not Batman." And he goes, George Clooney just stops and he looks at him and he goes, "Really, Barry?" And that's where the movie ends.
I actually love that because I always thought George Clooney could have been a great Batman if they didn't give him such a goofy script.
So we still get George Clooney's Batman at the end.
You get redemption for George Clooney.
Which means that by saving his dad, by doing that one thing, which was basically taking the cans of tomatoes he was looking for and putting them on the top shelf, he altered the timeline again with something that small, the butterfly effect, totally. And now we're in the Batman and Robin universe.
Right.
But then the end credit scene is him explaining all of this to Aquaman.
Jeez,
and
okay.
Aquaman's drunk, like totally drunk. And Barry can't get drunk because his metabolism.
Right.
And he's
this actually sounds pretty good.
And he's like, this is why it explains. He's talking about the multiverse. And he goes, it's weird because Batman was the same Batman, but they were all three different people. But they all three had, and he was talking about, and Arthur's like, well, how am I in this other multiverse? And he goes, oh, you're pretty much the same. You're, furry, furry, loyal, and everything. Because he calls Arthur Curry's dad at one point. He calls Tom Curry to try and find, when he's trying to find the other Justice League members in this world. And Tom Curry never met Arthur's mom. So the woman he married, he's got a bunch of dogs. Arthur is a dog.
Okay. Hey, Brandon, before we run on time, what about is it Supergirl or what do they call her? Because it's not Superman.
It's Supergirl. It's Kara Zor-El.
How did you like her? She looked pretty cool.
She was so good, and she's so wasted in this because
maybe we'll see her again.
I hope that James Gunn takes it, because he said that he loved this movie, and he has a soft spot for a lot of people in this movie. I'm hoping one of them is Sasha Calle, and he uses her for Supergirl World of Tomorrow, which is one of the movies he's got on his first phase slate.
Okay.
I want her to play this role. She did so good. And it just feels like, we need more of this.
It's funny because, Brandon, I was sort of dispassionate about this movie at the beginning of the discussion. Now you make me really want to go see it. Actually, it sounds like there's a lot of cool parts in it.
There's a lot of fun stuff. There's a lot of stuff you might not like, but there's a lot. It's a lot of fun, and that's what we need in our superhero movies is fun, not over the top insanity like Guardians 1 and 2 or Thor: Love and Thunder, but this was like the right balance, and especially with the fact that you had a moment where the character calls out his younger self for trying to be the funny guy.
He says what the audience is thinking,
right?
So that's pretty cool. So, because I mean, it sounds like he's also critiquing a lot of movies where they just make jokes at the wrong time.
Yeah.
So that's kind of a nice little.
There is some good shade thrown in this movie, and I don't even think Ezra Miller realized what he was saying in a lot of it. But there's a lot of shade in this movie.
Was he throwing any shade at himself?
Yes. Yes.
So there's a very meta type of thing. Because, I mean, that's a whole other conversation.
There's a line where he's talking about joining the Justice League, and he goes, blah, 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 about being a superhero. And he goes, but, you make sure to take care of your mental health because we hadn't figured that out yet.
Okay. Wow. All right. I'm going to go see it. Brandon, you've convinced me. However, we're out of time, you guys. We got to get out of here. So until next week, we are the Geek Patrol, and I am Joe Thorderson.
I'm Alan Gilbreth.
I'm Maximilian.
And I am Brandon Olmsted, wanting to wish a happy Father's Day to all the wonderful heroes and megalomaniacs out there.